Oh my gosh, what a game. What a game. This was a really good one, a really tight one, a difficult one. The Pistons showed up on the road, and there's a reason why they've been on a roll. So first things first, give credit to them for making it really tough and challenging the Warriors down to the wire. But my goodness, with the game on the line, the Warriors are down by 2. It's about 30-something seconds left on the clock. They can't get any good looks. The Pistons are playing great defense. All-Star Thompson's defense is, oh my goodness, man. I think his defense is a little better than Amen Thompson's, actually. I think Amen Thompson is a two-way player, but his offense is a little bit better. And then for All-Star Thompson, his defense is better than his offense. And there's just a little bit of a different level of toughness in his game compared to his twin brother. But yeah, Jimmy Butler gets the ball over to Draymond, and he just, without hesitation, throws up a three-point shot. And in real time, I'm just like, no! And then he hits it. Oh my goodness. Shut me up then, Draymond. Shut me up. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the channel. Lots to go over in this video. I'm going to talk about what happened in the game, but I'm also going to go through a segment of just breakdowns of different clips because so many things happened throughout the course of this game that is just worth showing and mentioning. But if you haven't, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hit that like button so that this video gets out to all the Warriors fans out there. Now let's get straight to it. How about Gui Santos? Gui freaking Santos, man. Making me so proud. See, I have a type when it comes to certain types of players that I want in rotation for the Warriors. And those are the guys that play their hearts out every single possession. They are playing possession by possession defense, boxes out every time, does all the fundamentals, and if they have other things they add alongside those fundamental things, well then those are the bonus things that I'll take all day and night. And Gui Santos, man, he is showing more and more each and every single time he steps on the floor. Tonight he showed a variety of ways that he can score the basketball. In that first half, he actually scored 11 points in just like 8 minutes or so of playing time. He hit a mid-range shot in open space, which we rarely have seen that from him, if at all ever. Went 4 of 5 from the free throw line, and Steve Kerr is really starting to trust him above a lot of players. He gave Santos the closing minutes of the second quarter before he got into foul trouble, and then to begin the third quarter when Quinton Post wasn't really cutting it. And we'll get to the nuances of that. The first guy that he brought in was Gui Santos. And then Steve ran a lineup of Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Gui Santos, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond. And oh my gosh, talk about being able to play that power forward position, man. You guys know me, this is something that I have been harping on all season long. Understanding who can play power forward for this team and who cannot play power forward for this team. And the Warriors went from 2 guys in rotation that could not play that power forward position and being forced into it, that being Wiggins and Kuminga, into Butler and Gui Santos. And these 2 guys can really cover both the small forward and the power forward position. They are interchangeable. And oh my gosh, there was one play in that third quarter where Jalen Duren was about to get a wide open dunk, and then Gui Santos flies in out of nowhere and blocks him at the rim. And Duren cannot get control of the ball. The ball goes out of bounds on Duren, and it is Warriors possession. Are you serious? I have never seen Gui Santos make such a powerful play, and the level of energy and confidence that he played with, the more games he plays, the more he knows that he's going to get minutes, the more confident he's becoming, the better decisions that he's able to make, and more assertive he's on the offensive end of the floor. And I think he just has a lot more in his offensive bag than we've seen, because the Warriors run a very tight style of offense and a very kind of, in a way, rigid style where guys don't get to necessarily show their individual abilities. They just have to kind of fit into what the Warriors are doing. But in open space, Gui Santos is hitting mid-range shots, layups, dunks, three-point shots, and he even had an ISO situation where his first step allowed him to dribble right past Cade Cunningham for a layup. And oh my gosh, how about that play where he is boxing out Oscar Thompson and then gets in position for the offensive rebound. And then not only does he grab the offensive rebound, but he puts it back in midair while Oscar Thompson makes a dangerous play and shoves him in the chest. While Gui Santos was still in midair, he took a really hard fall. That should have been a flagrant. And the refs did not give him a flagrant because he got right back off the floor despite a really hard fall because he was so fired up. I gotta say, man, I saw from the first quarter on, the refs were manipulating this game against the Warriors and in favor of the Pistons, and they were doing it all the way down to the wire. You know, just if there's a 50-50 call, they're giving it to the Pistons. And there were a lot of phantom foul calls as well. It got a lot of Warriors players in a lot of foul trouble. Kevon Looney had 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game, including this one, which is just a complete and utter phantom call. There was no foul there. And there were a couple of fouls called on Gui Santos as well, where it's just like, how is that a foul? But yes, major shout out to Gui Santos. The game ball goes to him. He is the ultimate connector, and he's just showing more force and more force and more force the more he plays, and he's getting closing minutes, and he is so reliable. At this point, I am ready to call him a championship caliber piece. I'm blown away, man. This guy is 22 years old, came up in the Warriors G League system, and you gotta give the Warriors G League system a lot of credit because a lot of players go down there, come back up, and become really good players for the Warriors in rotation. It happened to Jordan Poole, it happened to Moses Moody, it happened to Potts, it happened to GP2, it happened to Trayce Jackson-Davis, it happened to Quinton Post earlier this season. Oh, and by the way, keep an eye on Braxton Key because over his last 2 games in the G League, oh my goodness, the production is off the charts. In his last game, he had 25 points, 14 rebounds, 7 steals, 3 blocks, had 5 assists, and 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. Whoa, that is insane. Braxton Key is 28 years old, 6'8", has a wingspan of 7 feet, and is 225 pounds. Whoa. Put Kevin Knox back in there because he's not going to be good enough, and try Braxton Key because, whoa. He's got the physical attributes, he's got the size, he's got the defense, and he's got the offense, and he's got tenacity. We need to see what this guy looks like with the Warriors, and we need to see it in the final 18-19 games that are left on the season. And by the way, Quinton Post ended up starting this game because Paz ended up missing the game due to that sore lower back that he's dealing with. And you guys know what I've been saying all along about Quinton Post. His best role for this team is off the bench as a sniper. Do not overextend his use and go beyond what he's capable of at this particular juncture of his career. And the Warriors once again did that by starting him in this game. And even though he started off well and the Warriors got off to a really good start, 9-0, they gave it right back. The score was 9-8. And from there, Post was basically ineffective for the rest of the game. He couldn't really get going from the 3-point line. He couldn't really get going with the bench units. He couldn't rebound the ball. And the crazy part of it, Steve Kerr actually elected to bring back Post in the final minute of the game when Gui Santos ended up fouling out. And in real time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is a gamble. This is a mistake. Post has been sitting out, and now you're going to ask him to close this game in the final minute with everything on the line? That is not a position that you want to put this rookie into and under. Steve should have either went with Kevon Looney or GP2, experienced veterans who know how to close the game. Next thing you know, the Warriors are on offense. Quinton Post goes to the right corner. He gets the ball. He ends up being wide open, but the dude is cold. This is a pressure-packed situation, and he does not even hit the rim on his shot attempt. See, it's a different level of pressure to hit that kind of shot with the game on the line. It's not the same thing as coming into the game in the second quarter to begin the second quarter or the beginning of the fourth quarter where there isn't anywhere near the same amount of pressure, and it's easier for Post to just not think about those pressures and just hit his open shots when available to him. So with Post out of the game, Kevon Looney comes in the first quarter but picks up 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game. Trayce Jackson-Davis gets into the equation and gets a couple of minutes. And if you haven't heard, Trayce is going to play a G League game tomorrow. And to be honest with you, he really should have started this game because the last time the Warriors played against the Pistons, guess what lineup they ran? They ran Steph Curry, Dennis Schroeder and Buddy Hield lineup next to Draymond and Trace, and they still managed to win that game. Trace actually shot 7 of 9 from the field, 14 points and 10 rebounds, and thoroughly outplayed Jalen Duren in that game. And that was a road game. And here's the thing about being in the starting lineup. Being in the starting lineup for this Warriors team is all about setting a tone on the defensive end of the floor. Because you know how it is when the Warriors start the game. They never really get going from an offensive standpoint. Jimmy Butler is basically doing cardio. Steph is more or less doing cardio in the first 6-7 minutes of the game as well. They're just trying to get into a flow of things, and they're trying to execute basic things and set a tone defensively. The easiest way to set a tone defensively and make the other team completely uncomfortable is to get your best set of defenders out there, and the easiest way to do that is to get the most imposing defense with plenty of size. And Trace allows the Warriors to play that way. If you just go with Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and Trace, your defense is going to be powerful. And then you can put Post into his natural position as a backup center and allow him to do what he does best as a sniper and allow the Warriors to create separation with that second unit. And honestly, oh man, given how Gui Santos has been playing, I would just absolutely love to see a starting unit of, let's say, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, gives him a massive size advantage at the 2, Gui Santos at the 3, utterly reliable, another spacer, another do-it-all kind of guy, a Swiss Army knife, Draymond, another Swiss Army type, and then Trayce Jackson-Davis anchoring that defense. So much size, so much defensive capability, so much rebounding. Man, I'm telling you, if the Warriors, if Steve Kerr ever goes to a lineup like that, I think it's going to tear it up. That is going to be the best iteration of the Warriors in terms of who they can start and how they can thrive each and every single game and set a tone and create massive separation from the jump and reach another level that they haven't gotten to as of yet. But yes, just to show a couple of highlights for Trace while he was in that game in that first quarter. There was a play where Dennis Schroeder tried to drive around him and Trace bothered the shot and Dennis Schroeder ended up missing the shot. But the ref called a phantom goaltend on the play and gave 2 points to Dennis Schroeder. Just another example of ref manipulation in that first quarter. Replay showed there was no goaltend. Even the Pistons broadcast, which I was listening to today, was saying, okay, I didn't see a goaltend, but we'll take it. Yeah, and then there was another play in transition. Trace is trying to direct traffic, but then on the left side of the floor, Dennis Schroeder is wide open, so Trace quickly runs out there and is able to block Dennis Schroeder's three-point shot attempt. I promise you, Kevon Looney is not getting to that shot. And he made a really nice play, passing the ball to a cutting Moses Moody for a layup, beautiful execution, and a hustle play on the offensive end of the floor allowed him to get to the free throw line when the Warriors should have really lost the possession. He ended up missing both free throws. Obviously, his free throw shooting has been inconsistent this season. And the good news about him, for me personally anyway, Steve Kerr addressed the TJD issue and he said that he's going to bet that he's going to find Trayce Jackson-Davis in the rotation in the final 19 remaining games. And that's good news for the Warriors, because I can't harp on this enough. They are going to need him come playoffs. They're going to need his defensive presence in the paint for his size, toughness, grit. He has these things. And you must prioritize those things over the fact that he's going to miss a couple of layups here and there, which we don't even know if he's going to do anymore, because anytime he has been next to reliable veterans next to him, guys like Chris Paul and Klay Thompson and even DeAnthony Melton, Trace has always looked really good from an offensive standpoint. People forget that last season, Trace was in the top 10 in finishes in the NBA, in the paint area. He was top 10 in field goal percent. That ability didn't go away, but yes, it would be nice if a veteran makes good plays so that he can finish lobs inside the paint for the Warriors. But yes, once again, Gui Santos was just a star coming off the bench, and he was the only distinctly positive player coming off that bench and was totally featured, plus 14 once again in this game. And Jimmy Butler really came to life in this one, being much more aggressive. The second unit really had nothing going like they usually do, and Butler had that sense of urgency like, okay, I can't be passive in this game. I need to get going. I need to be aggressive. I need to take more mid-range shots. I need to take more guys on in the ISO, and that's exactly what he did in this game. On his way to 26 points on 17 shots. He even attempted 4 3-pointers in this game and knocked down 2 of them. That 3-point shot is starting to come around. You know, he's not going to try to jump out of the gym the way he does from the mid-range. From the three-point shot, he has more of a set shot, and it looks like he's starting to get a little more comfortable shooting it, and that's really great to see. Saw some weird stuff from him early on. He missed a wide open layup for some reason. Usually that would be a dunk for Jimmy, but somehow he went up and did some weird thing, and it like barely grazed off the rim. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what it is with this team. When guys enter this team, suddenly they have trouble making layups. But like I said, ultimately, he was 9 of 17 from the field and super efficient overall. 9 rebounds, 5 assists, just a complete game for him. Steph Curry, meanwhile, had a lot of struggles in this game. The Pistons have a lot of length and they were really bothering Curry's shots tonight. He shot only 4 of 15 from the three-point line, shot only 8 of 22 from the field, but he was able to get to the free throw line 12 times. And a couple of times he was able to get the and one inside the paint against Malik Beasley in a game where the Warriors really couldn't buy a bucket inside that paint. Yeah, not 1 and 1, but 2 and 1s. Let's go, Steph. So yes, despite the inefficiencies from the field, ultimately those free throws really helped and he ended up with 32 points, including a prayer, super lucky three-point shot that hit off the glass over Ausar Thompson. It is very rare that Steph Curry gets a lucky three-point shot to go in, and that was certainly one of them. And Moses Moody really struggled to finish inside the paint tonight. Just 3 of 11 from the field, but he did a really nice job against Cade Cunningham to start the game as a POA. And the more defensive ability that Moses Moody shows, the more encouraging it is for the Warriors because they need stoppers from the perimeter as much as possible. And if Moses Moody can add to that situation, that's great for the Warriors. Yeah, I don't know if it was the fact that he was teammates with Cade Cunningham in high school. They were teammates. So maybe Moses understands this game really well. So because the Warriors were doing a really good job containing Cade Cunningham on the initial dribble, there were some plays where the Pistons made some adjustments, including this one, where kind of like the Warriors, they got Cade off the ball real quick, and then he relocated, got the ball right back, and then he was able to attack, and he got to the cup. Yeah, very well coached team, very young, but hungry. But yes, the Pistons had been 10-2 in their last 12 games, which is pretty impressive. And tonight we got a glimpse of why. And man, there were various times in this game where things got very interesting. Steph Curry went to the Pistons bench, and I guess he was talking to them a little bit. And then Isaiah Stewart, Mr. Beef Stew, gave Steph Curry a little shove when Steph was already kind of turning away. And then Steph turned around, stood his ground, and he was like, "What do you think you're doing, Beef Stew?" And when you look at that situation, it's kind of funny because he has a lot of familiar faces on that Pistons team, including Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters, and Luke Walton, his former assistant coach. But yeah, that was a little fun segment. And Draymond Green hit the biggest shot of the night, that three-point shot that pretty much helped seal the victory for the Warriors. And then the next possession down, he ends up getting fouled after getting a stop. And then he's able to convert on one of the free throws. And then the Warriors have a 3-point lead after being down 1 point before Draymond was able to hit that 3. Yeah, he stuffed the stat sheet tonight. Still a little bit frustrated with his playmaking. He just seems a little bit too rushed at times. And it's almost like he's eager to make a wild pass. Another 4 turnovers tonight. And you know those and ones that I was talking about with Steph Curry? Those were very dangerous passes. Luckily, Malik Beasley wasn't paying attention. But if a better defender was on Steph Curry in those moments, that defender would have tapped the ball right away from Steph Curry, and those would have been turnovers. So he has to be careful there. But again, he continues to do a marvelous job protecting the paint as much as he can, given the situation, given the tendency for him to play that center position. But again, there's a lot of other segments where he's just playing the power forward position. And yeah, needless to say, he is a vital, indispensable piece for this team and their success. Goodness gracious, guys, this was such a tough win at home. Their first game back at home, and you know they have this 7-game homestand, and a lot of these teams are streaking and are not easy teams to beat. So they took care of business tonight. They have another 6 games to go to take care of business, and depending on how that goes is really going to give us a great idea as to where the Warriors are going to end up when this season is done. But oh man, what a win. Just a sweet win. This is the kind of tough game that a great team must be able to take care of, and the Warriors did that. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.